Okay, so going on with the next step now. So we've managed to put the grime spray all across the undersurfaces and brought it up around the sides, not forgetting the ends. So the next stage we're going to look at is putting an oil wash, just a grimy oil wash again, very similar to what we've done with the spray, but this time what we're trying to do, you can see it on this one, is we're trying to bring out the detail in all the recesses. So what we're going to do is create a bit of shadow and depth using the wash. Then afterwards what we do with the dry brushes, we'll bring out the highlights. So it's just giving it a bit more depth, a bit more of a 3D effect on the actual vehicle, and it won't just look like a plastic toy. Okay, so you can see I've done that end already, had a bit of a play with it yesterday. So we're going to come across now and we'll just do one side for now, probably just do this side. So to do that, we need a little bit of oil paint. Now put it on the paper towel. The reason I've got a little bit on the paper towel is just so it can soak up the oil that's in the oil paint, because if we don't do that, that oil is going to go onto the model as well, and it's going to take a lot longer to dry. So I know it'll be very hard to see in the light that I've got set up here. It's a pretty bright setup, but I can actually see on that paper towel where that oil is leaching out now and being absorbed by that paper towel, which is what we want. So colours I'm using, again, just a little bit of burnt umber, a little bit of black. Okay, it doesn't really matter on consistencies. You mix them up how you want, but you want to try and get it close to the colour that you've got on the bottom already that we sprayed on. Doesn't matter if you can't get it perfect, it's dirt. In the whole scheme of things, it's not really that big a deal. Okay, I've got a little bit of enamel thinners. Now again, this is just generic enamel thinners. I picked up a litre of it from Repco or Supercheap for about 16 bucks. Okay, that's all we need. And we're just going to use that small plastic container here. What we're going to do is create an oil wash. So we're going to take a bit of our dark brown, our burnt umber. Put that in the enamel thinners. Get it nice and dissolved. We want this to be fairly thin, so that it floats into all of those little recesses and remains there. Now you could use the burnt umber on its own if you wanted to, but because we're going for a little bit more of a grimy look, we're going to add a little bit of black. Now black goes a hell of a long way, so just add it very gradually. There's nothing worse than putting a big dollop in and you know, you got to start all over again. So we'll just add a little bit of black in there and see how that, you can see what I mean. It turns it very dark very quickly. We've got a big lump of black in there. Just going to push him out to the side. We won't worry about him. Okay, and that's given us our sort of grimy, dirty colour up the side there. We'll just mix that well. Just, we don't want to put any lumps of this on the model later. We just want the wash. Now, if I can bring that up the sides, you can see what consistency we were looking at again. So, you know, thinner than milk this time. We're looking at a wash, and you'll see how that goes on the model in just a sec. So, we'll give ourselves a bit of room here. Now, what we're going to do, you can see I've taken the roof off as well. We don't want to get any of this on the roof at this stage. We want to just weather that roof separately. Again, different materials used on different pieces of rolling stock will weather differently depending on what they're made of. So these being boards, what we're going to do is just come in at the start here, and you can see straight away with that capillary action, that's drawn that oil straight down into those lines, which is exactly what we want. We'll bring it right down to the bottom. Okay, don't be scared if you think you've got too much on. It's okay, because we're going to remove it and we're going to push it around. So again, we're just starting at the top like this, flooding it into those areas, just so all the nooks and crannies, and particularly any recesses, get covered. Just push it around any little bolts that you can see, any handles, you know, joins in doors. You really want the recesses to be full with this stuff. We can just paint it on like this. And you can see when you've got it thin enough, because it is going to just, the capillary action is just going to take it down all those little nooks and crannies, all those little lines that we've got there. It's going to flow straight down. If it was too thick, it wouldn't do that. You'd have to push it around, and that's not the idea. So that's where we've got it at the moment. Okay, so you can see straight away that looks a lot different. Now that's too heavy. Okay, it's too heavy, so we're going to come back and knock a lot of that off shortly. Just because we've got a fair bit here, let's have a crack at this side as well. Let's quickly do this. if this was a big flatter area that didn't have a lot of these, you know, joined boards, tongue and groove style, whatever it is, the way that these boards are all joined together, obviously you want to pick up all the gaps in those boards. If you had, say, an American style box car that had large flat surfaces in there, okay, you're more going to sort of stick to the edges, paint it around the edge of the panel, okay. And with the style too, if you're painting on, paint in vertical streaks, not horizontal. The reason we do that is it's unnatural to have a horizontal line there unless it's a wear mark or a rub mark, generally. And a happy little accident we can get out of this is this can create a little subtle effect that we refer to as a rain mark. So if you're bringing it down like this and we haven't taken it all off later, then you know it'll give us a mark that looks like water has hit that car and remained there afterwards. So this is a nice clear end, this one, and you can see straight away the capillary action in effect there. So you can see it getting into every one of those boards, which is exactly what we want. Okay, it's not going on too heavy, and if we want it heavy we can come back and give it another coat. Okay, so that's where we're up to with this one. I don't like that little effect. Let's make sure once again that, you know, we're finishing with a bit of a downward stroke. And this is the time you need to really be careful and watch out for fingerprints. Okay, just make sure we've got everything there. Okay, that's the side that we did yesterday, the end there. So we might just give that another light going over just to blend it. This is a different mix of oils. So again, this will keep our colour consistent as we come across. Get those corners as well. Just want to make sure before you leave this stage that we haven't missed any little areas. Okay. Looks heavy at the moment. Don't panic. We're gonna fix that shortly. Okay. So what we're gonna do is probably give that 5 minutes and come back to it. It needs about 5 minutes just to sort of settle in there, and then we can start to use just some straight enamel thinners and clean that up. Road wheels looking pretty good. You can see they've got all the grime in there that they need now. And just put them to one side there, done. And we'll get just some clear enamel thinners ready for the next little bit. That's all we need. And we can use a piece of paper towel to remove the excess as well. Alright, see you soon.